As consumers, like the Incredible Hulk being bombarded by gamma rays. But what makes some media endure, while others are banished to the forgotten black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again? Who or what decides this? Hetero life mates Steve and Yahel want to know, and they want to know now. This is Obscurity Now. This is Obscurity Now. And it's Sunday afternoon, so you know what that means. It's time for another episode of Obscurity Now. My name is Steve, and with me is my co-host,
Yahel. It's Sunday. That means it's time for you to touch my backstage pass and ride my limousine.
Oh man, I sure hope those are quotes from the Bret Michaels show we're going to be talking about today.
Those are lyrics from the theme song that Bret Michaels wrote and performed for the aforementioned show Rock of Love.
Wow, he is so talented, so talented. I mean, what woman wouldn't want to be with him?
You got me. I don't know, a woman concerned about her sexual health.
I don't know. How old is that guy now? I mean, surely.
So I looked this up, Steve, to see how old he was during the filming of the show. Mm-hmm. He was 44 years old when the show aired, so he was probably 43 when they filmed it. Mm-hmm. He's born in 1963, so that'll put him at, 50... when did I say he was born in 63? So no, 58 years old? Is that old he is now?
You know me, man. I don't really do math, but sure, I'll take you at your word there. In case you're confused and don't know what we're talking about, we are talking about the reality TV show, and I use the term reality loosely, known as Rock of Love with Bret Michaels, who was the lead singer of the rock band Poison. Were you like a big Poison fan? I think I remember you having like a shirt or something.
Yeah, I did have a Poison shirt, and more importantly, Poison was was going to be the first CD I ever bought, actually. As a young, dumb, I think I would have been like 9 or 10, I don't know. But we were like at Walmart or something, and I wanted to buy it. And my dad was like, yeah, you can buy whatever you want. Then he saw like the cover, and it was like a lady with like, I don't know, she looked like a cat, and she had like a giant tongue. And he said, you're absolutely not getting that. Satan has made this, obviously. You know, with my parents being super conservative Christians, and they were like, you're not getting that. Why don't you get this instead? And I shit you not, Steve, this is not like to jump on it's an outdated meme at this point, but they got me the Rick Astley CD that Never Gonna Give You Up is on.
Oh man, wow. Man, they got it all reversed, I think. I don't know. I wish they would have handed you something like, here, why don't you take a listen to this Joy Division CD instead. But I have a feeling your parents probably wouldn't be into them either. Although I've never...
They made the name, though, Joy. They would think like, Joy to the World.
Right, and, that instead of what it's actually named after, which is German... it was these squads of Germans that were told to go out and force sexual acts on people during the war.
Well, Steve, that sounds a lot like the women that were part on the show. Rock of Love. It's Bret Michaels' own personal Joy Division.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. Man.
Or you could say he's a one-man Joy Division.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only way to view it. Man, this was... Wow, this was like stepping back into a time machine, like to a time...
Had you ever watched this?
No. In fact, I really don't watch any reality TV at all. I think it's like kind of the bottom rung of entertainment.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, as someone who, is an actor and writes narrative fiction and stuff. Like, reality TV is the antithesis of all that, and I feel like I learn very little from it by consuming it. However,
Now, Steve,
what's up?
aren't you on a reality show on Netflix?
Yes. Ironically enough,
interesting.
I was desperate enough to be on a reality show, and I'm pretty sure I didn't get paid as well as the ladies did on Bret Michaels. Yes, if you were to go onto your Netflix account right now and look up 100 Humans and maybe look at, I think, episode like 1, 3, and 4, I'm in there. Human number 3. I'm the guy who looks like he doesn't want to be there. That's me.
Now, Steve, maybe if you had, I don't know, tried to make out with one of the hosts, like these women do right away, maybe, or shown a little leg, or popped out a boob.
Yeah, I was really surprised when that happened. No, I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's sort of different tiers of reality show. I will say,
interesting. Now there's different tiers of reality TV.
I mean,
now that you've been called out.
Hey, I was gonna say, I did enjoy Comic Book Men back when it was on AMC after The Walking Dead, before they canceled it. I mean, that's less of a sort of sleaze fest and more of a, I don't know, sort of unscripted, whatever, like sort of slice of life kind of show. I mean, they all vary. I mean, I'll watch with my wife, I'll watch like, something on Food Network or one of those home and garden shows or something. I don't know, just because we're desperate to get a house. So it's like house porn,
Yeah. And to be fair, those are like, even though there's stuff on there that's clearly scenarios that are clearly staged or set up, it's a lot less, it's not so dramatic, so it's a little bit more palatable.
Sure. I mean, and that's the thing with this is that, I could just like feel the PAs behind the camera being like, okay, now, Tawny, you go sit in his lap now. Yeah, rub up on him real good. All right, yeah. Now you go get behind him and like gyrate on him. Yeah, that's it. That's great. And hey, reality TV. Hey, I mean, not that I was offended or anything, but I was just like, it was just so crazy because I feel like, the shows like this even exist anymore on like regular cable TV, like the sleazier ones.
Yeah. I mean, they have like those like Temptation Island, which is all about like getting, like couples go on there and like the point is for like to see if they'll cheat or not with like some other hot person.
Wow, so they do still exist. Okay, well that shows how much network and cable TV that I watch in this day and age. Yeah. But like aside from this, do you say that you enjoy reality TV? What got you to watch this to begin with?
I don't watch it regularly, like at all. And I am a fan of this era of these VH1 of love shows. Like there were a ton of them. Flavor of Love with Flavor Flav started it. Then I almost said Shawn Michaels.
Well, now that I'd watch.
Bret Michaels. Yeah, he just whenever you get eliminated on Shawn Michaels' show, he
Super
sweet chin kicks you.
That sounds so good. Oh man, WWE Network really dropped the ball on that one.
They really did. Shawn Michaels get a divorce. I've got a $10,000 idea for you.
Right, yeah. See, we could be the next, I don't know. I was going to say, since we're talking about wrestling, this reminds me of something that like Eric Bischoff would have produced like around this time. Because, he produced a lot of reality TV and was even like involved with like the guy who
some VH1 shows, and Scott Baio, I know he did like that show.
The Girls Gone Wild producer, like that was like one of Eric Bischoff's friends or something. But enough about Eric Bischoff.
But about these VH1 of love shows, they had like a ton of them. Like a lot of the eliminated contestants from the shows end up getting like their own spin-offs. Like I Love New York is like a pretty well-known one, and she was a contestant on the original Flavor of Love. There was Daisy of Love. There were a bunch of them. And then there was like a challenge show called For the Love of Money. Anyway, Steve, I am not as embarrassed as I should be to tell you that I recently, within the last 2 years, watched all of these VH1 of love shows all the way through every season of every single one.
See, now, what compelled you to watch it? Is it just kind of like, so bad it's good? Kind of like what?
Exactly.
Okay. I don't know. I don't get the same enjoyment from this as I do of watching like a bad movie. But we'll get to that. Like, why don't we jump into the IMDb and we'll continue ruminating about these shows. What do you say?
What? Absolutely. Just one little thing,
Sure.
real quick. Chris Perry in the chat said that we should do a No Holds Barred episode. Chris, we already did it, Daddy.
Yeah. Tell your dad, Aerosmith guitarist Joe Perry, that we already did one. All right.
Yeah, we did one like a month ago, maybe. It's on the YouTube archives.
Highest
at least.
rated episode, I'd say. Yeah.
I'll throw the link in the description while you go over the IMDb, if that's cool with you.
Sounds good. But first, it's our feature presentation.
Welcome to your feature presentation.
Oh, you clever boy. All right, here we are in the Obscuritron 5000. There we go. And there's Yahel. He's enjoying it.
I think it should be renamed the Obscuritron 69,000 since Bret Michaels is a very, very horny man.
So it would seem. I could say that's sort of like, I felt like I got, not too many reactions for myself, except for, some of the weird, like, erotic stuff that he would say, especially about himself. I would chuckle at that, at least.
Yeah.
But wow. Okay, let's dive into the IMDb here. So this is a Rock of Love with Bret Michaels, released all the way back in July 15th, 2007. And there are 3 seasons of this, which apparently Yahel has watched all of them.
Yep.
The synopsis.
Couple times.
Oh, man. I think it's great that you just have the time to do that. That just shows that you're a hard worker.
If you were living the dink double income no kids lifestyle, you too could enrich your life. The mistake you made was enriching your life with a family. Otherwise, you could be watching Flavor Flav and Bret Michaels make out with women half their age.
Just thinking about that. Well, before I became the family man that I am now, I pretty much used it to watch all the the trashy B movies from Amazon Prime and Tubi, which I still enjoy from time to time. But anyway, here's the synopsis of the series, followed by the synopsis of this particular episode. Through a series of challenges, women compete for a chance to live with the rock star Bret Michaels, who rose to fame in the 80s by fronting the band Poison. All right, and here's the episode summary. Bret Michaels, lead singer of rock band Poison, welcomes 25 young ladies to his rocker lair in the hopes of finding that one special girl he can call his own. Which, that one sounds kind of weird. It's like, after this show, he's going to own you. Yeah, you're going to sign away your life, girl. Which, a lot of these, ladies, whether they're, I don't know if they're acting or serious or not, they seem like they'd be okay with it. Like, they want to be owned by Bret Michaels.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't know if we really need to go through the cast per se, because none of these people are really actors per se.
Right.
And as far as I could tell.
Right. I was just going to say real quick that the director, Tom McGuire, and basically all the people behind in the creative, they basically, all they do is work in reality TV. They worked on all the shows that you like, Flavor of Love, etc.
I know that some of these guys worked on Jersey Shore too, as I was doing some research today. But yeah, these guys produced all those Of Love shows, and yeah, really the cast boils down to Bret Michaels, who we've already discussed. Bret Michaels, the most rocking diabetic of...
I know, that was so weird to find that out.
Yeah, his diabetes becomes like an ongoing... his diabetes has an arc throughout the Rock of Love
starring
seasons.
Bret Michaels and diabetes as himself.
And type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's interesting is that like because of his diabetes, I assume Brett never really gets trashed throughout the 3 seasons.
I see.
Like he never has more than like actually no, there is one episode where he gets pretty drunk, and even then he's like that guy's had so many drinks throughout his life and so
Right.
many substances that he's real chill about it.
I thought you were gonna say he's like unable to get drunk. It's like,
Maybe.
yeah, he's had so many drugs and so many different alcoholic beverages that they all sort of like mixed together and made him invincible.
Yeah. Then there's Big John, who plays his bodyguard. So Big John was and still is his real life bodyguard and personal
Oh,
assistant.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, he was not brought in for the show. And I got to say, to Bret Michaels' credit, when he was, I know way too much about this fucking show.
Hey, you
when
asked
he was
for it, buddy. You asked for it.
No, Steve. I already I didn't have to research this. A lot of this I already knew, but so when Bret Michaels was negotiating with VH1 for the show, he basically said, "I won't do the show unless Big John can be a part of it and he gets paid." So to Bret Michaels' credit, I mean, he loyal to his friend and bodyguard, and
It's like a Lorenzo Lamas and his wife situation,
yes, yes, exactly.
which their marriage
Except-
deteriorated. Yeah.
But Bret Michaels and Big John's friendship has continued. In fact, just a few days ago, Bret Michaels tweeted a picture of Big John. It was his birthday, but he's in the hospital.
Oh.
He looks like he just had some kind of open heart surgery kind of thing, but it seems like he's going to be okay and recover.
So,
But,
do you think it's also Big John's job, or maybe it used to be, to get Bret Michaels drugs?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, it's a given, right? Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure. Just wanted to put
Drugs
it
and
out
women,
there.
I'm sure that. Yeah. Well, the other thing, Steven, this will interest you about Big John. He has gotten involved apparently in wrestling.
I can see that.
I found his Instagram, and he's got some pictures of him with some belts and some indie shows. And the one thing I couldn't really tell if he wrestles or is just like a manager that gets physically involved a lot.
Right.
But yeah, he hit the ring like much like you and I did. Probably followed in our footsteps specifically.
Oh, man. Well, good for him. Yeah, he's an interesting, I don't know, sort of presence throughout the episode where, I mean, a lot of the time I was just like, why are they cutting to him? Like, I think like maybe, Robert Rodriguez, he says you're supposed to like shoot something, like director Robert Rodriguez, he says you're supposed to shoot something in case like, audio or something goes out of sync. And he used to cut to the dog. I feel like that Big John was the dog in this, because there were times where they would just cut to him and he's just standing there. And I'm like, why are they cutting to Big John? He's not even doing anything. But I mean, I guess they at least had a reason for him to be there in this episode.
Yeah. I think part of the reason why they cut to John a lot is because Bret Michaels was very rarely there at the house.
I could see that.
So Bret Michaels didn't actually stay at the house. He didn't live there. He stayed at his regular place. And basically, production would call Bret to come in whenever whenever they had the challenges, whenever the eliminations, things like that. But also whenever there was like a lot of drama going on, they would bring Bret in. As far as the other cast members, I mean, it's a lot of women who, outside of being on other VH1 related shows, didn't really like get into acting for the most part. There's a couple notable. I'm using notable very generously here.
Sure.
Lacey, the girl that played the drums, who throughout season 1 she will not shut up about how she's a musician.
Right.
She has a band.
What a shameless self-promoter.
Yeah. Now, I really think she was legitimately into Bret Michaels. In fact, I think a lot of these girls were legitimately into Bret Michaels.
Sure.
Her, Heather, which was the stripper that flashed her boob. And I have to specify the stripper that flashed her boob because there's several dancers.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that, but specifying which one. But yeah, I know that Lacey actually has a podcast which I haven't listened to, surprisingly. She started it about a year ago, where she interviews people that were on all these VH1 shows. Yeah, I read like a Reddit AMA with one of the producers from the show, or I think it was actually a PA. the time. And basically, he said that Brett was not interested ever in any of these women, with the exception of one from the third season.
Oh, wow.
And instead, he was just, quote unquote, really good at pretending to be interested.
Huh.
So sadly, a lot of these women thought that he was genuinely into them.
They never had a chance.
Yeah. And as far as manufacturing drama and that kind of stuff, he said that they didn't have to really do that much because, like, basically, especially the first couple seasons, like, everybody was just like a raging alcoholic. So they would set up situations, like a challenge or whatever, but they didn't have to do much to get them to act like idiots, basically.
Right.
And Brett did legitimately do the picks himself.
Okay. Like, so they basically gave him a folder with all their, like, headshots in it, and he's like, this one yes, this one yes, this one no. Like, you mean as far as getting on the show, or at least as far as
eliminations, the eliminations.
Oh, wow. Oh, good for him.
That was really, yeah, that was really, I mean, I'm sure that they had meetings with the producers or whatever, beforehand. And, I'm not saying that the producers, surely they had some influence, right?
Oh, right. I mean, I think it was proven in this first episode here. I mean, you say, maybe later on down the line they didn't have to manufacture drama, but, like, clearly. All right, so let's sort of dive into, I guess, the beginning here. And
good
basically, Brett rides his motorcycle to his house in the Hollywood Hills. And I thought that motorcycle looked kind of dumb. It looked like it had like a taxi cab kind of theme going to it.
Yeah, he's no renegade.
No, you got that right. And I think it was perfect that we transitioned from renegade to this in some sort of weird way. And so he basically, and this is a very general overview. I mean, because really, it all takes place in one shot or in one setting. He shows up. All the girls are standing there on, like, bleachers or something, and Big John goes, I need you to stay, you to stay, you to stay, and all the other girls go, and he's like, you five are cut. And and then
they didn't even get to meet Brett.
Yeah, and I have to say that's pretty savage, as they say. But one of them decides she's not gonna put up with that. And I wrote her name down. Tiffany, yep. Tiffany, who, I mean, if she's an actress, she's doing a great job of looking like someone who's lived a very hard life.
Steve, how do you think she was 52 or a really rough 32?
I thought maybe, like, rough late 40s, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my guess. I don't know.
I can see that too.
Yeah. She decides, no, I'm not going to go. I came all the way from Chicago. She kept mentioning that she was from Chicago. I wonder what Chicago thought about her. If they were watching and they were like, yeah. Wait, that's not a good Chicago accent.
Well, I know that CM Punk dedicated his return at the United Center in Chicago to Tiffany from Rock of Love, Steve. So, she's obviously had a major impact. If it wasn't for Tiffany, some say CM Punk would still be sitting at his couch at home.
Thank you for
Tiffany.
A timely AEW reference. That was great.
Yes. Tonight, All Out. You can watch it at 8 p.m. after this podcast.
Oh, man. Why don't we have any sponsors yet? I mean, we're basically already doing the work for them.
Right.
But, so, I mean, of course, I'm going to call BS on that right there. I mean, if someone was going to say, no, I'm not going anywhere, I mean, you better believe, like, the director would, like, just snap his fingers and, have a couple of PAs just haul whoever it is away. So, of course, it's, like, written in that we need this woman to stick around and add extra conflict to what basically from then on out. Well, actually, from there we move into. It's like, I don't know who came up with this idea, but there's like Brett's like, I decided I want to take some sexy pictures of all the girls just so I can get to know them from the outside a little bit better. Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, man, I don't know if you could get away with that these days.
But Brett says, but by the way, first of all, so the house. What did you think about the house that they rented for this? Which I'm surprised that they actually said that they rented the house and didn't try to pass it off as Brett's own house.
Well, see, the thing with that is that they showed his actual house.
That's true.
And then they were like, so I gave my money to Big John and told him to rent a place in the Hollywood Hills. Like, did they end up at Brett's real house, like, later on in the series?
No. I'll let you know what happens later at the end of the series, but no. Because the whole, like, thing is, like, Brett's like, oh, well, I lived there with my daughters, my 2 beautiful daughters, and I got to make sure these women are good enough to meet them before I'll let that happen.
Right, yeah. But I mean, I just thought it was weird that they showed shots of his house. He was like, got a pool big enough to kayak in, and it's like, whoa, okay, you're big time, buddy. I get it.
The thing though, that whole thing about like, oh, I need to make sure they're good enough to meet my daughter, that begins what I like to call VH1's like trying to pass Bret Michaels off as like the hormone with a heart of gold.
Or how about hard on with a heart of gold?
Yeah, the hard on with a heart of gold. Which, he's taking these pictures. Like he says that he's like photography is like one of his hobbies, and they actually show some of the pictures he took, and they're the most out of focus, poorly composited pictures you have ever seen.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of them are done on purpose to make some of the less attractive girls highlight their failures. No, that's not a good way to say. All right, I mean, they just were, they were making people look bad on purpose.
There's really like you would never like say about any of these girls, oh, they're ugly, right? But they clearly have some that are more like super model. Oh, this girl could be a model, and some that are more.
And I'm sure they came out here, and by here I mean Hollywood, and tried to be said model, and then ended up on Bret Michaels' Rock of Love.
On Bret Michaels' lap. But like you were saying, he takes these pictures. He's got like a little section. They're in a single file line, and as every girl comes up to have her picture taken by him, they make out with him. Lots of tongue. It's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
Not because making out is disgusting. It's like the way that I don't know. There's just
just the fact that someone else's tongue was already there, and you have
seconds ago.
Yeah, and then you have to go there and participate. I mean, and some of the ladies, when they were being interviewed and talking to the camera, they were like, "Oh yeah, I mean that girl was just there, so I didn't want to have anything to do with that," and I can respect that.
but there were some of the girls that were like, "Oh, I saw these girls." Like Magdalene, I think was her name. She's like, "Oh, I saw these girls going up there and kissing him." So I was like, "I can't be showing up." So she looks like she's the one that was like in the sundress that looks like really classy, and she like went up and like just like licked his entire face practically.
Right. Yeah, it was a whore off, is what it was.
Yeah, a whore off. Yeah. But that the house, like there's like. It's very mid 2000s decorated. It's mid 2000s Hot Topic ish.
Oh,
like there's lots of like like weird colors.
What were those tattoo shirts that were so popular?
Affliction, yes. Bret Michaels wears Affliction shirts all 3 seasons.
That, and it was like...
And Ed Hardy.
Yes, that's it. That's what I was looking for, Ed Hardy. And there's a picture right now up on the Obscuritron of him with his cowboy hat and his fingers up like this. Like, I swear, when he wears a cowboy hat, he looks like the human embodiment of Tampa, Florida. Like, do you ever get that? From him? I'm just like, man, that guy's gotta be from Tampa, Florida. Even though I know he's not. But
he's like somebody from Lakeland that got some money.
Yes. I'm so glad you agree with me. Oh man.
Yeah. Well, by the way, Bret Michaels' hair supposedly maybe there's rumors. I didn't look into it. I didn't Google it. I guess I don't want the magic brewing, but maybe he wears a wig. And that's why he's always wearing bandanas that cover, or he's like got a super bad receding hairline, and that's why he wears like the big bandana the way he does.
And that's one of my notes here. I was like, why do you have to wear a bandana and a cowboy hat? It just seems like overkill to me. I mean, unless you're actually working out in the fields, Yeah.
Now there is like an episode in season 2 or 3. I want to say season 3, where you do see him without a bandana or a hat on, and I mean the hair looked thinner than I expected, but it didn't look like he was losing it per se. I mean,
Right.
he never had like a huge thick head of hair, anyways.
Do you think?
So I don't know.
Do you
I don't
think
know what the deal is, but
he and Hulk like shop at the same wig shop?
dude, he's definitely wearing extensions in this though. Like you can tell in some of the shots, like pretty bad extensions. But who cares about his extensions when these women are getting trashed all throughout? A lot of the episode consists of the women kind of getting to know each other.
There's only one extension those ladies care about. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God! Speaking of his hard on, while he's taking pictures of these women, he'll like take a picture and he'll like look down at his junk. He'll look down at his cock and
Right.
go, oh, excuse me. He's like touching it. He's like what?
Yeah, there's a lot of, there was even some like boing sound effects like put in at one
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
I mean, I wrote down a lot of quotes like once we get to them. But I mean, I guess they're just from everyone, but I'll save that for later. But yeah, like he talks about his penis a lot.
he talks about getting erect all throughout the episode. An ongoing theme for Bret Michaels is everything and anything turns him on. Like he talks about this one girl, Jess, how like he likes her, but she's putting up a wall. And he talks about, first of all, he doesn't like that. And that worries him. But then he goes, but you know, her having a wall up kind of turns me on.
Yeah,
that's a typical thing. Later on, he's complaining about some girl like being ditzy and not having a whole lot upstairs. And he's like, but you know, that's kind of a turn on for me.
Yeah, it's like, you know, that Marilyn Monroe's kind of dead, but it's kind of a turn on for me.
Yeah. So, and that happens, dude, all throughout like the Rock of Love thing. Like any little thing will turn him on, like that. The buff lady rodeo. When she's like, oh yeah, she was really open to me and she's got a son, and that turns me on.
Yeah.
Bro, what are you doing, buddy? Is your sugar low? Do we need to give you some insulin?
I mean, I guess
here?
it's good if you're just into everything. I don't know. But yeah. Somebody get this man a EpiPen stat.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, all right. So we get past the picture taking. I mean, I think I don't really cringe at a lot of things, but I think I was already starting to cringe during the camera like portion or whatever. I just think it's funny because like this whole thing is basically just like, okay, so you're a kid in the 80s or whatever, and you're into Poison, and you assume or hear that like Bret Michaels is just like this wild man who's just like smashing girls, like multiple girls, like in every town and every single, and it's like, and now you can actually watch it on VH1 like every week and get to see like the kind of like woman that he could possibly meet up with. But if you're not into Bret Michaels or Poison, like I'm not, the show kind of doesn't work for you. But yeah, and then like on top of that, but that wasn't enough. They're like, oh man, but what if Bret Michaels was also a photographer? Because photographers, they smash girls left and right. Let's just put them together. He's gonna smash so many. It's gonna be insane.
Yeah, throughout the series, like on a lot of the challenges, Bret Michaels like, oh yeah, this is a big hobby of mine. Like everything's like just something that is supposedly like one of his hobbies.
Is there ever a time when he like, it's like, hey, random girls, come into my room. I want to show you something, and they're all like, okay, whatever you say, Bret. And
they definitely do some stuff where like girls go to his room to visit him, to like in lingerie or whatever.
Right, and then he goes to the bed and goes underneath the bed, and what does he pull out? A long box of comic books. Hey, take a look at my Wildcats #1. What do you think, ladies?
Actually, a lot of times they use like the scenes where like girls visit him, his bedroom, both as a way to show you that it's so weird that he is a very sexually charged man, but also a man with a heart of gold that won't take advantage of you.
Right.
Because a lot of times, he'll be like making out with some girl and blah, blah, blah. Sometimes like, if I remember right, there's one time where he's like in a bed with like two girls. And anyways, but I remember one time some girl has something in on her mind or whatever, and she wants to sleep with him, whatever. But like, there was some kind of serious situation going on. He's like, you know what? I don't think like your head's in the right space because of what's going on with your family, and I wouldn't feel right. Now this is after he's like already like made out with her for like 10 minutes and like felt her all up.
Yeah, now take this copy of Ultra Force #1 and have a good night.
Yeah, basically. So up until close to the end, he doesn't like of each season. Generally doesn't like really sleep
Right.
with any
I
of the
mean, because
girls.
that would be that would almost be like the end of the series in a way. It's like, it's almost like when, you have two characters and they're always in a sitcom, and it's the whole will they or won't they thing. Like, so if he were to have sex with one of the girls, then I mean that would pretty much be it, right? Like,
Oh, no, 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 Steve. I mean, he has sex with, who knows if they really did or didn't, but for the
right.
purposes of the show, we are at least led to believe that he sleeps with several of the women towards the end, and they know about this, and
They're
they still
okay with
continue
it?
to fight for him. I wouldn't say that they're okay with him. Like, from what I remember, some are, some aren't. Some are like, hey, I've expected this. We're not in a relationship yet. Kind of a thing. So
Right.
yeah, pretty much like definitely for sure once it gets to like the final two or three and they have like their final dates, he definitely like fucks each one of them. And
Oh my God! All right,
he's got to know what he's getting into. He's got to know what he's getting into.
Right.
Steve. He's got to know, are these women right for his daughters to meet?
Right.
And there's only one way to find that out, Steve, and that's by putting your penis. And are you? I thought you were a photographer. I thought you knew this stuff.
No. Anyway, so basically the rest of the show is all those girls hanging out while Brett
Getting real drunk.
getting drunk while Tiffany antagonizes them, while Brett tries to get to know them two at a time because conflict. You got to have the conflict.
Right. They're always like angling to get alone time with him and that kind of stuff.
And I could just see I can just see the PAs like just you go I can't remember all their names, like Rodeo, go get in there, stop them from making out ASAP. But
Brandy C, that was the one that kept trying. I was like, you were supposed to show me how to play pool.
Right, yeah, that girl. So
Steve, by the way, you want to know how many of these girls' names I had to memorize?
how many?
None. I remembered all their names, Steve.
Oh my God.
Already knew them. You want to know how many notes I took, Steve?
How many?
0.
Wow.
Didn't need to.
I feel like I worked too hard then. But I get what you're saying. You've already watched it so many times. You know it all. That's how I felt about the Batman movie. But that's a different story. So yeah, as the night goes on, basically Brett tries to talk to all not all the girls, basically the ones that they're going to keep around at least until next episode. While there's a few other stragglers in the back that I guess they only had contracts for like one episode or something. Tiffany antagonizes them. Like, I was kind of waiting for like a cat fight to break out, but I guess maybe they were saving that for later. Does one happen later?
The closest thing to that is one of the girls throws like a drink on Lacey. And they kind of get into it. Like, I believe maybe Lacey throws a drink on her and she slaps Lacey. And I think that's kind of like
slap. Okay.
about as bad as it gets.
All right. Gotcha. So it didn't,
at least on this season.
Right. It didn't reach like Springer levels of violence is what you're saying.
No, not really. I mean, there were some situations where there's maybe like a couple shoves here and there, that kind of stuff, but like nothing really like bad. No one was like throwing haymakers or anything.
No uppercuts or Hadoukens.
Yeah, like Jim Ross would not have called any of this a slobber knocker or anything.
What a maneuver! So, all right, as someone who's seen this twice, like, do you think Tiffany was actually that drunk, or was she just doing what the PAs were telling her to do?
Oh man, I mean, I don't know. What I think probably happened is because being a reality TV star yourself, they interview these people like well ahead of time to get a feel for like what their personalities are like and how they'll react in certain situations. So I think they probably knew that she would be like a fucking crazy person.
Right.
I'm sure they asked her if she liked drinking, or I'm sure they drank even before they started. Bret Michaels got there, or they filmed the scene where he walks up there. So they probably already had a feeling that, okay, this girl's going to be like a lush. Let's have her be the one that goes back in. I'm sure the plan was always to have somebody be the one that
Right.
goes back in. So I think they just kind of set it up and she took the ball. I don't think that lady's that great of an actress. Like, I think that seemed pretty legit as far as how drunk she was.
Yeah, especially all the gibberish that they were subtitling that she would say.
The editing in this is great.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I mean, that's like some of the the very few goods that I have here is like, the production is great. There's lots of like sweeping drone shots. I mean, this is on like a real cable like network, so of course it's going to be good. And they were definitely trying, at least in the editing room, to make it as humorous as they could. I mean, after all, you got your boing sign, to simulate a boner. I mean, you can't get much more highbrow than that.
Yeah.
But
it's funny how they, because you and I watched this on Amazon Prime, and on Amazon Prime, it's uncensored.
Right.
Excuse me. So, and a lot of the VH1 of love shows are there. So if somebody gets naked or whatever, you'll see everything. They don't bleep out the cursing. But did you notice that there's a scene where Bret Michaels is like talking to some of the girls outside, and he says something about bumping.
Yeah. What
goes like
was
this.
that?
Okay, so I had a feeling because you hadn't seen this before, you're gonna be like, "What the hell?" So in the normal version, which I believe is on Hulu, by the way, the censored version, they have that bleeped out. So it makes it sound like he says something really awful in the censored version. And they even kept the censor bar over his mouth, like on this one, even though we hear all he says is like, yeah, because, or other, I think it's something about like not having chemistry and like bumping, meaning, you want to be able to have sex with somebody that you're with.
Right.
And then they just like, cut to some reaction shot that obviously is out of context.
Yeah, weird, awkward. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, that's something where you can tell the show was totally contrived and just done in the editing room.
Right, and then they cut to him in his interview saying that, I had to talk to like so many girls like that night. Like it was really.
He said this talking stuff is hard for me.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, this communication stuff was hard for me. That was a really weird moment, to say the least.
Yeah.
In a sea of weird moments. So basically, I mean, we can get to some more highlights later. Bret interviews, like we said, like the highlight girls who are probably going to be there for most of the series, and we basically find our way back at the end. All the girls are standing around, and much like in many other reality TV shows, this is like the elimination area. So he gives out. What is it? VIPs or backstage passes?
Backstage VIP passes.
Right. For the girls who are going to stay. So we have to go through, I don't know. How many girls is it? Like 10, 15?
Steve, I can't believe you didn't pay attention. He had 21 girls on the stage, but only 15 backstage passes to hand out.
Okay. So he goes through and pretty much you could tell who's staying and who's going to go. But there is one little sort of, I don't know, what should we call her? Anomaly, if you will. And like this is definitely a spoiler alert. So as Yahel said, you can watch this for free on Amazon Prime. I mean, mine had ads, but it was still free. So you assume that Tiffany is gonna get the boot. Oh no!
Right.
After he gives out all the VIP passes and then cuts all the other girls, he goes, "Hey, there's one girl that needs to stay because she's quote unquote entertaining." And then Tiffany, she gets to stay, and it's funny because he recites the exact sort of same line that Big John said, or maybe that Tiffany herself said, where she was like, "I'll sleep on the floor. I'll sleep in the bathtub. Whatever. Just don't turn me away." And like at the end of the episode, Bret is like, she may have to sleep on the floor. She may have to sleep in the bathtub, but we can't send her away because she's just too entertaining. And that there is like, that's breaking the reality, I say. I mean, if you were believing that this show was legit, I mean, clearly it's not here.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I totally agree. And to be fair, well, I guess not really to be fair, but there's a couple other women that he keeps around, not just in this season or other seasons, because they're feeding him information. And he even like tells, I remember like a couple of them, like that he sees them more as friends and blah blah blah. But he wants to keep them around because like they're helping him,
They're
giving him information about the
snitches.
other girls. Yeah. So Brett Michaels does keep some girls around to just give him information and this and that.
You're part of the Bret Michaels spy ring. Here's your Dakota ring. Now we won't be having sex, but you're going to be telling me what the girls that I do want to have sex with are talking about. He's like the Shadow.
And it better be my penis.
Yeah, if they're talking about anything else, they're out. They're out on their ass.
Yeah. But that Tiffany girl does not stick around very long. She gets eliminated, I believe, 3 to 4 episodes in.
Wow.
But still, that's longer than you would think she'd.
Right. Well, I mean,
stick around.
I mean, I guess they were like, oh man, we really need the tension and that conflict, because like, if she wouldn't have been there, I think the first episode would have been pretty boring. I will give her that. I mean, it would be basically just those girls sitting around and drinking, like looking like they're having a good time. But then when they cut to the interviews, of course, they're talking bad about each other behind their back for the most part.
Right. All the girls are like very catty, which I'm sure was, a direction from production.
Sure.
They all get unreasonably upset about anything anybody does.
Right.
But
I have some.
I will say.
Oh, I'm sorry. Continue.
Oh no. You continue, please.
Well, I was just gonna read off some of the quotes that I wrote down here that I thought
Please do.
were humorous, and this one is Brett talking about rodeo. I'm pretty sure it's rodeo. She was built, and I knew even if I didn't want it, she was going to give it to me. We're talking male rape. Hell yeah. Yeehaw. And let's see, what else do we have here? And he quotes, the Jackie Chan movie with Chris Tucker. He says, he's talking about one of the girls who ends up getting cut. She's very quote unquote distant or something. So he goes, "Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth?" And I just think that's funny because it sort of just dates the whole show.
Yeah, it's such a time capsule.
Yeah, for sure. And then there's another time where like all those girls started to pile on him while he was like sitting in a chair or something, and he goes, says,
to which happens many times.
Oh, I'm sure it does. I mean, he's Bret Michaels after all. And he says, "They were yanking me around like a football." I'm like, I don't know if that's a thing, buddy. Like,
Steve, athletes know that that's a thing.
Okay. Or I mean,
No, I'm kidding, Steve.
I mean, I know. I'm sarcastically agreeing with you because I used to play football, and you don't really yank a football around. You toss a football around.
Right.
You can yank other things, but I don't know. Whatever. Who am I to question the great Bret Michaels? And I think, those were at least the highlights. I thought it was funny at the very beginning when they were showing Big John like setting up all the sets and like cleaning or something. Because
he's like vacuuming.
Yeah, he's
house.
like, I gave Big John like all this money to go buy this house, and he's like setting it up and stuff. I'm like, like they couldn't get anybody else to do that, but I know it's probably just giving him the camera time that he desperately wants. Oh, here's another one.
And I did think that Big John though, like in his role, he was pretty good. Pretty entertaining in his role.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say he was just probably playing himself. He seemed pretty natural, to say the least. And here's another. The last quote is by I can't remember. It was one of the two of the blonde girls who, I guess when they first met each other, she was like, "We're both blonde and we can bond over that." Like, have you ever become friends with another dude, Yahel, just because you guys have the same hair color?
Yeah, all the time, Steve.
I'm like,
that's the number one thing to look for in a friend.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm trying to find a way to like say we all became a band because we had the same hair color, but that's not true at all. But yeah, that's all the quotes, I believe, and I don't know. Are there any other highlights or little tic tacs of information that we need to know about?
No, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. I will say that as the show goes on, and they it's really over the top, which is what I like about it. Like, these women like really play up their characters. Like the ones that are supposed to be ditzy really like play it up to like a ridiculous degree. Like everyone's pretty much hammy
Right.
on the show, which is
Right.
I think why I like it so much. And Bret Michaels is just like, I don't know, man. He's just like awkward as hell to me. Like he's like a guy trying to like, convince. I don't know if he's trying to convince himself that he's cool or us that he's cool.
See,
But
that's how I feel about Hulk Hogan. Whenever he does scenes with girls, like romantic scenes with ladies, it's always so awkward. I feel the sort of same kind of energy.
yeah.
I don't know. They should definitely hang out. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the same hair color. They can bond over it.
Yeah, that's very true. It's very true.
We use the same extensions, brother.
Steve, so obviously you haven't seen the series, but there is one kind of like star, I guess, if you want to call it that does come out of Rock of Love. She's not in this season, but I don't know if you ever heard of. She's not like a big movie star or anything. Britannia.
No, can't say that I have.
She's like one of the most followed people on Instagram or something.
Okay.
She's got like millions of followers or whatever. I mean, she just like she's just like basically naked or something.
Sure.
But yeah. But I mean, that's kind of like the most successful person that I guess came out of this. But Steve, out of the women that you saw, who do you think wins Bret Michaels' #1 backstage VIP pass at the end of this season?
Oh man, that's hard to say. I can't remember all their names. There was this one.
Okay, just describe them. I'm sure I'll remember their names.
I thought for sure. Well, no, they were too dumb. I mean, I thought maybe one or two of those, two blonde girls who bonded over their hair color might be the one. But then there's, I already know that one Beth girl doesn't win, so it's not her. The girl, just because I saw her on the slideshow just now, that girl with the pink hair, did she win?
Yes,
that's her.
She does win.
Oh,
wow, I can't believe you got it. Yeah. Jess wins because she's the one that puts up her guard, and as we all know, that's one of Bret Michaels' 700 turn-ons.
Wow, so he likes a challenge, huh?
I am genuinely shocked that you got that, but yeah, and now they do a reunion show at the end of the season, like a lot of these reality shows at the time did, and I think they still do. And in the reunion show, Jess pretty much breaks up with him. Kind of says that they're not really right for each other.
Yeah.
And that she thinks that Heather, who was the stripper that popped her boob out, it was basically down to Jess and her. And she says that he thinks that she was a better fit for him and blah blah blah. So they call it off. Bret Michaels pretends to care.
I'll just go back to my massive swimming pool and I assume he must have a lot of money, like maybe a money bin that he can swim around in.
Yeah. He spent all summer swimming, kayaking in his pool. He went on a walkabout in his kayak. In his pool.
Oh man!
And that's how they end up with season 2 of Rock of Love, and then of course there's season 3. And that was the last we saw of the Rock of Love shows, 3 seasons.
So I noticed on IMDb, it says 3 or it shows the year that it started, and then it's like a question mark that there could possibly be more. Do you think there will be?
I think that this is supposed to be some kind of philosophical statement about the fact that Bret Michaels, his heart of gold is so large that he can't just have one Rock of Love. He has too much love to give. And the search will never end.
Kind of like the Starship Enterprise and its continuing mission to seek out new life, new civilization, and so on.
Yes, Bret Michaels' mission is to explore strange new women.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
And of course, no Star Trek connection. Believe me, I looked. I was ready to grasp at straws, looking at producers' credits. Who are they with? Are they married to somebody who has a Star Trek connection?
I mean,
No.
that should tell you something, man. If you can't find a Star Trek connection in the world of reality TV, then it might not be for you.
Maybe it's not.
Here,
But,
let me run the bumper and we'll answer the question.
Yes.
Question.
So, Yahel Velasquez, do you think that Rock of Love should be remembered for all time or tossed into the black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again?
Now, I do have unlike, a lot of the stuff that we watch, I do have the advantage of having seen, like, the entire series, right? And I will say the first episode it's okay, but I don't feel like it's indicative, per se, of the entire season. I feel like it gets more fun as it goes on, and more ridiculous in a good way.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, let me jump in there real quick. Do they not put them through any kind of, like, wacky games or anything?
Yeah, they do a bunch of them.
Because I was a little disappointed there were no wacky games.
Yes, they do. In fact, I think starting with the next episode, they start those. And they have them do, like, some really cringy stuff where, like, okay, they have to record a song for Bret Michaels, that kind of stuff. And it's awful because they have to, like, write the lyrics,
Of course.
I think, like, at one point they have to make, like, a business presentation, like, split into groups. There's some physical challenges too, like they do, like, mud football.
Of course. Surprised they just didn't do mud wrestling while they were at it.
I believe in season 3 there is a wrestling thing, like they go train to wrestle. And
like
they have
pro
to put
wrestling
on matches.
or Olympic?
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was Chance of Love, one of the spin-off shows. Sorry.
Oh my god.
Real Chance of Love.
You're like an encyclopedia of reality TV over here.
Yeah, but I believe that the girls actually box. The Rock of Love girls.
Foxy boxing. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. But so to me, I actually do think it's fun. I would say, though, if anybody is curious about watching it, give it like 2 or 3 episodes. In fact, you can probably skip the first episode, to be honest.
It's like the first day of school. You're just sort of getting to know people. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not important for the Rock of Love canon.
The Rock of Love averse.
Yeah. So anyways, my vote's a yes, keep it, but I believe you may have a different answer.
Yeah. I mean, this wasn't for me. Like, I don't really like reality TV as a genre. I mean, even Comic Book Men, at first I hated it, but then it slowly, like, sort of grew on me. Maybe if I watched more episodes of this, it would grow on me as well, like a fungus. But yeah, I stick to the world of narrative fiction for the most part. So, I mean, I'm going to have to go with a no. So that leads us to another stalemate, which is fine. And I just want to say that, like, I don't judge anyone who watches reality TV. And also, I think, like, even if it's, like, super sleazy, you should be allowed to watch whatever you want. Like, I'm not here to judge. I mean, I've watched all kinds of, like, as I said, terrible B-movie trash. And, I mean, I wouldn't want to be judged for watching that either. So
I think it's all about, like, how you take the entertainment, like, if you are watching Rock of Love and you think it's all, like, 100% legit, I mean, okay, that's pretty stupid. That's like thinking, wrestling is 100% real or something, So if, but I think if you just, like, take it as, like, some kind of turn your mind off entertainment, it's,
Right. Well, like, I just couldn't find anyone to, like, root for. I mean, and I tried. I was like, oh, maybe I want that girl to win. And then finally I was just like, I don't think anyone should. Like, why do I care if Bret Michaels finds a girlfriend or not? He's just going to go, have sex with somebody else who's not on the show. Like,
oh, we do have a comment here from Laney Cakes, who is my girlfriend, and who I watched all these shows with the last couple of years. She actually rewatched it with me, and we had a good time watching it. She said that's the best kind of TV, but
Right.
yeah, not for everyone. Like you
Right.
said.
I mean-
and I understand that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched an episode or two of the Kardashians with my wife, so I'll admit it. I wouldn't say that I really enjoyed it, but I got to look at my phone quite a bit. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us here on Obscurity Now. I do have one thing before we go. Of course, we are just please as punch, like however you enjoy the show, be it by podcast or Twitch. But right now on YouTube, we are at 299 subs. So if you want to be sub number 300, this is your chance. And
Yeah, and you know, I think Bret Michaels is going to be sub number 300 for Rodeo. That's a different kind of sub.
Nice. Maybe Rodeo will sign up, but I doubt she watches. But anyway, yeah, I mean, there's really no contest or anything other than, if you do subscribe, you could just write in the comments, hey, I'm number 300, and maybe we'll say your name next episode. Who knows? Why not?
Wow, what a prize!
People like that stuff,
the only
right?
The only worst prize would be Bret Michaels' love.
You want it,
we're at
Yahel. Don't
300
lie.
Actually, Chris Perry just commented that we're at 300
Yes.
now, and yeah, actually, yeah, it was already at 300 earlier.
Huh.
So at some point during the
Is that you,
video
Chris
or
Perry?
the
Did you
podcast.
subscribe? Is that you, Chris?
No, because I had pulled up when I went to pull up the link for the No Holds Barred episode. I still had that page up, and it already said 300.
Oh,
so
wow, man, that
I
really.
mean, maybe it was him at the beginning of the show. though.
Well, whoever you are, number 300. Thank you so much. Now we just need to get like 300 more.
Yeah, we're ready to forget about you already.
Right. Absolutely. Anything else, Yahel, before we go? Oh, we should definitely announce, in case you don't already know, that Yahel here has finally released his video that he's been talking about over the last couple episodes. How's it going so far?
It's doing really well. I'm probably on a list at the FBI now.
Nice. That's good.
But yeah, no, it's doing well. People seem to like it, and yeah, it's getting more views than I expected since it's a very niche topic. The winners don't use drug screen from arcades. That screen that flashes for like 5 seconds. There's a whole big backstory about it.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I think there's I feel like I'm a part of, like, there's a big following for arcade stuff. And who wouldn't want to know about that thing, right?
I think most people probably just never gave it any thought. They were just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Laney said, big keyword finally. Been working on that for a few months.
He's been neglecting me for this video. I hope not. I don't know. Whatever. But anyway, thank you so much for watching / listening. Make sure you subscribe and like and tell your friends. And we will see you next Sunday when we figure it out, whatever it is that we're talking about. See you next time. Bye-bye.